So this video is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a lot of bit different, actually. This is my second video on the main channel, but I have a few videos if you want to check them out. At the Rat Zone, I have a podcast that I'm trying to do with my friend. Schedules don't really line up all that well, so it's gonna be slim pickings for a bit. Also streaming over on Twitch a little bit. I am working full-time, and I'm trying to do more of these, so probably not that many streams coming up, but check it out if you wanna. But without further ado, this is going to be, a review, what I like about MegaMan Battle Network. I don't know what to call this thing yet. But, I'm making alcohol.
Even good guys blow it.
Today's drink is called the Guts Punch Special. It's a simple cocktail for a simple man. The recipe is only 3 real ingredients, and it's pretty effective. I made one for the B-roll, and the thing's pretty strong. It's actually so strong that, in fact, when I was writing the script, I had one where I did 1.5 ounces of each of the alcohol instead of 1. And I stopped writing the script after 1 because I couldn't type. So if you're a little bit more sensitive to alcohol, maybe change it to 1/2 ounce instead of 1 ounce. But without further ado, let's get to the recipe. So first, to start us off, you're going to want to have a rocks glass full of ice. And then you're going to add 1 ounce of any cinnamon whiskey of your choice. For this, I chose Fireball. It was a cheap and very available choice. And you're going to add 1 ounce of Tennessee honey whiskey. For this, I chose Jack Daniels because, again, that was a very just cheap and available option for me to grab really fast. And then for the last part of this, you're just going to want to fill it with Sprite. This is basically just one ingredient off of a Angry Bee, which is a cinnamon whiskey and Tennessee honey cocktail, but you usually use Coke. But for this, I chose to use Sprite because I think Sprite and those two whiskeys mix very well with each other. You don't really taste that much of the Sprite, but it cancels out a lot of the strongness and the punch of the other two, where you still just taste the cinnamon honey. I really expected the Fireball to kick a lot more than it does, but with the honey and the Sprite, it really just kind of smooths that down to where everything's sort of on the same playing field, so to speak. I also chose to serve this straight up. You don't have to. Straight up just means you put all the ingredients in the glass and then you just drink, because you do not want to shake any carbonated mixers such as Sprite or club soda. Now that we're done mixing our Guts Punch Special, named after Gutsman from the game, I don't know, I just wanted to pick a character of the game, find a neat little cocktail to do, and then theme that after the character. The drink's yellow, his main color's yellow. That's all those are the only 2 neurons that need to be activated in my brain to make this worth it, so I just wanted to do something different than, what I normally do. So not only am I doing a video essay on a video game, I'm making a drink about it. And this is just an excuse for me to use my bartending school certificate. This is the little handbook. I was trying to read through it because I forgot what serve straight up meant, so I had to look that up. But now that I've filmed it and have actually finished mine, it's not as strong as I remember it being the other night. Probably just because I haven't had anything to drink in a while. But I'm going to just keep pouring Sprite in this glass and get the most that I can out of it. Hold on. That was a really nice sounding pour. Let me try to get in there. Now, without further ado, let's talk about the game. The Mega Man Battle Network games have always held a very special place in my heart. As a kid, me and my two brothers would watch the TV show that came out around that time on the C&W, which had shows like Kirby Right Back at Ya, the Mega Man show, and the only other show I remember being on the C&W was the King of Queens. We watched a lot of the show, and we played a lot of Mega Man Battle Network 2, but Mega Man Battle Network 2 had only one save file per cartridge you could do, and between 2 Game Boys and 3 brothers, that was a very difficult split to find. Eventually, my oldest brother got a PSP and gave me his Game Boy Advance SP. So I got the Game Boy, but my other brother still had Mega Man Battle Network 2, and only thing I could do was just run around and farm random encounters, which was really fun as a kid, but I didn't get to really play the game. I was able to play a game called Mega Man Battle Network Chip Challenge, which those of you that don't know is absolutely nothing like the other game. It's nothing at all alike, and I still put like hours and days into that game, to be honest, because we work with what we got. Okay, I was 10, so we work with what we got. I'm going to start off with the most complicated, but to me, the best part of this game first. First thing we're going to talk about really in this game is the combat.
Delicious.
I have to grab my notes for this because this is, again, a little complicated. The combat system is best described as a card battler. You start in 2 3x3 grids, and the chips that you get act as your cards. During the combat, you have a timer at the top letting you know when your chips are ready to draw. During that time, you have a buster which acts as a low, short burst damage that you can slowly chip away at the enemy, and you can move around and dodge attacks while the enemy is attacking, as you slowly chip away until your chips are ready. I'm going to break the chips down into 3 different categories. You have your damage chips, support chips, and utility chips. For attack type chips, you have stuff like cannon, that is a normal hit scan attack that just damages as soon as you click the button. Pretty standard. Then you have stuff like shotgun, which shoots the enemy and then the panel behind the enemy. So if you have multiple enemies crowding up one space, you can use that or the cross gun, which instead of shooting a panel behind, shoots in like an X formation around them. So you can do a little bit of crowd control, and you can time your attacks to do damage to multiple enemies. You also have a plethora of melee abilities like the sword, the wide sword, and the long sword, where you can do high bursts of damage, but a very close and very limited distance. For support chips, you have the basic ones like healing, but in later games you get ones that's like attack plus, where you add damage to the chip that you're about to use, and you're just taking up a chip slot. And you have stuff like the guard, where you can put up a shield and sort of do a counter. For utility chips, you have stuff like steal, where you take a column of your enemy's grid, or you have chips like break, which makes a tile disappear for a short amount of time. Chips that sort of blur these lines between the categories is usually the Navi chips that you get from either getting a hard fight or getting somewhere in the story. An example of this would be Gutsman's chips, which damages all the enemies in the 3x3 tile a little bit. I think it does 40 damage, which is like nothing. But it also cracks the enemy grid, which if the enemy moves, the tile that they were on breaks and they can't go back onto it for a short amount of time. You also have chips like roll, which will seek out one enemy, do a small amount of damage, and then heal yourself. So now that you know how it works, roughly, how does it feel? To me, I think it all feels very snappy. You don't just walk from one tile to the next, you sort of flash to the next tile, and it makes dodging enemy attacks very, very fun, clicky, and it feels very nice to get those guards up or invincibility, just kind of dodging and blipping out of the way of an enemy's attack. I think the combat system lends itself very well to the one-on-one boss encounters, or the, at the time, link cable battles that you can do with your friends. There was a lot of really nice stuff that you could do in this game that just lends itself very well to that mobile feel. Medium. And I think it works very well given that this game was on a Game Boy Advance, and you could use your link cable, like I said, to either trade trips with your friends or battle them for chips or just battle them for practice. I think this was a very interesting thing that Capcom did. As a kid, I really wanted to take advantage of this. I personally didn't have many friends that had a Game Boy, and while me and my brothers had 2 Game Boys, we only had 1 copy of the game. So I really wanted to be able to take advantage of that and be able to just have a lot of fun using that system. I really want to, and I wish I could do that using some like sort of modern hardware like Wi-Fi or like your phone or honestly, I want to make a video on this little guy right here, just all by himself, because this thing is just so cool to me. But for right now, it does not support link battle stuff. So unfortunately, that whole bit was worthless. I looked it up after I wrote the script. And I won't ever get it back, and I won't ever get it back. Give up. So the story of this game, this part sandwiched here in the middle, is the absolute worst part of the game. The story to me is just so bland and just nothing interesting really happens. Like, a lot of things happen, but they end almost as fast as they happen. You start off your story with everything's normal. Everything's, you know, just a bunch of kids having fun. Because you play as like an elementary school or something, I don't know. So you're just a kid having fun. And then you're introduced to like, oh, this guy's a little bit suspicious. This is a little weird. I don't know. I don't like the look at this guy. And then something goes wrong. Oh my gosh, what? Something's going wrong. And then you go through the area in the net and you fix it. And then, or you're going to go fix it. You're trying to go figure out what's going on with this thing. Then you get to the boss, Navi, which is like the boss. And you figure out it's controlled from that suspicious guy from earlier. Whoa. Oh my gosh, I never would have thought that guy would be a bad guy. The guy that laughs like, yeah, he was the bad guy? Oh my gosh. And then you kick his ass and then you win. And then, yeah, you keep going through that several times. And then, you go fight the big guy. And then you win. The story in this game is really not what you play this game for. It's really not. I love this game to death. It's such a skippable story. Like, in the B-roll for this that I was filming, I definitely skipped every cutscene that I could.
It's showtime! You can't give it up! Go for it, man!
Chasing every frequency that's bad for me. They bounce against my skull and
And lastly, I think this is probably tied with combat for my favorite part of this game, is the designs. Oh my gosh. The designs in this game are awesome. There's a lot of them that are just basically reimagined earlier Mega Man stuff, like the little dudes with the hard hat. That guy. See, this is him from like Mega Man 1. That's him from Battle Network 1. I think they did a really good job moving a lot of these characters from like the NES and SNES over to the Game Boy Advance, making them look very nice. A lot of the Navis do this as well, where they reuse like the bosses and like the special characters from like earlier stuff, like Gutsman. Granted, Gutsman looks a lot different. I prefer this look for Gutsman, to be honest, because this might just be my rose-tinted glasses. Might just be some of these. God, it's definitely these things, man. And like Cutman is like 1-to-1. Like they nailed it. They just made Cutman look with more pixels. But like, that's such a good look for him, though, dude. Like, I mean, fucking look at him, dude. My wire might be in the way of him, but like, look at that guy. It's just a perfect design. Frame 1, easy. Also with Gutsman, there's some other characters that got like a little bit of a redesign to them, that they look very similar to their earlier designs, but there's some very obvious changes, like Proto Man. I like the little sword on his arm. That looks awesome, actually. But then there's also a lot of characters that are like really new looking. If they were in other Mega Man games, when I was Googling them on this, I couldn't really find them. I didn't do my crazy research, but like Numberman is pretty new looking. That's a cool looking design. Color Man, I saw a lot of stuff, but like Color Man also looks like I don't know, a lot of the Color Man stuff looks like fan designs, so I don't even know if those are real or not. There's a lot of really nice looking enemy designs. Like, I really like the cannon enemies. Those look really cool. I don't know what about them looks really cool to me, but they look really cool. Sharkman. God, I hate that fight, dude. Sharkman's fight is so bad. I get. If I even got up to Sharkman for this B-roll, you're just gonna be watching a loop of me dying in the background. The Sharkman fight's so hard, dude. I think when I did it, because like I think I beat it a few years ago on a computer, on an emulator. The only reason I won that fight was because of save states. Let's be honest, dude. That fight's so fucking hard, man. It's crazy. Some of the human designs look really cool. Like, I think Lan perfectly fits that sort of blank canvas protagonist look where he looks like a basic kid, but he runs around on roller skates. He's got a neat little vest. Thought he was really cool when I was a kid. I think, was his name Chad, or is it Chod? The rival. He looks really cool. He looks like an ROTC kid though, which, you know, that checks out. And then you know, you have some really cool looking characters like Rabita. I don't know why I thought Rabita looks cool, but it does. It's just a news reporter with a frog hat. Thought she was cool when I was a kid. And then oh yeah, some of the like Dex is looks a little didn't age too well. And then you've got oh, I don't know about that one, man. Dr. Wily looks like Dr. Wily. I think they did a pretty good job of moving Dr. Wily over. I don't know if Dr. Light is in the other games or not. I know he wasn't in, from what I've seen, of 1 or 2, but he could be. But Wily was in the first one. He was the main bad guy. Spoilers, I guess. It's a Mega Man game.
I got fleas in the basement. Here's hoping they don't jump.
In conclusion, I think this game still holds up very well, and the impact that it had on me as a kid is irreversible. I really want another Mega Man Battle Network type game. Unfortunately, the only modern Mega Man Battle Network type game I've seen at all, let alone played, was One Step from Eden, which is a very similar system of you have your short burst, very low damaging main attack, and then you have a bunch of like cards that you play to do more like higher damage or utility or support. But other than that, that's really it between those kinds of games. And One Step from Eden's a roguelike, which I think works very well with this kind of combat system. But I don't know. I have both collections on Steam, so I'm probably going to play through a bit of those. I know I'm going to be playing any of the ones that I can on this, hoping that we get link cable support for anything like that. It has a Wi-Fi chip inside of it, so you never know. His net play, so you can play like local multiplayer games on it, like a Street Fighter game or something. My honest opinion is, if you want to try these games, I would recommend, if you have an emulator, just trying it out. And if you like it, then buy the Legacy Collection. Because the Legacy Collection, something I totally forgot to mention, is it has online link cable support, basically, where you can play from your computer and join random like matchmaking matches online and do 1v1s. That's really fun. If you don't have an emulator, if you buy the Legacy Collection, you have 2 hours of playtime before you can refund it. I think that's a week. So if you play an hour and 30 minutes and you don't like it, refund it. It's not for everybody. Obviously, the story is bad. But if you want a fun and interesting combat system, give it a shot. If you play it for an hour and 30 minutes and you don't like it, you can refund it. I'm not gonna know, so you don't gotta worry about that. And if you want to play Mega Man Battle Network Chip Challenge for whatever reason, you can, I guess. It's on an emulator or something. It's not in the Legacy Collection. But yeah, this is a new video model that I just wanted to try out, where I make a drink and I talk about a game. I will be doing more of these eventually, maybe without the drink for a few of them. Like for my review I want to do of the Miyu Mini Plus. But yeah, TLDR, this game's great. If you don't like it, that's up to you. But like, this combat system's so fun and unique, and it has the optional bosses, which are really fun to go hunt down and do. And yeah, thank you for watching. Don't forget to pay your tab.